Have you ever wondered how some people always seem to afford the things they want, even when you know they're living paycheck to paycheck? The truth is, some folks are just different, and sadly, not in a good way. Now, most people these days probably feel like they're barely getting by financially. On the other hand, there seem to be broke people whom you know don't have a lot of money, and yet there's always something different about them, or they have something new with them. Well, the reality is that many broke people will make a way to buy certain things, even if they can barely afford them. This is because they may see something they want and feel and have a strong desire to have it, even if it means sacrificing their financial stability. So today, let's talk about 8 of those things that are so irresistible to cash-strapped folks that they'll go out of their way to buy them. Number 1. Gambling activities, including lottery tickets. How many friends do you know who are always on the edge of their seats, waiting for that big win from a bet or lottery? And you know they've been at it for years, right? But they'll swear they're always just a bit ahead, not losing like everyone else who bets. This kind of thinking is more common than you'd think. And it's a bit sad, really. There are folks out there buying lottery tickets or hitting the casino not because they can afford it, but because they're chasing a dream that's just out of reach. They would much rather use their last dollar in hopes of winning big, which is next to impossible, instead of spending it on something they really need. Number 2. Pets they can't take good care of. Adopting pets is really amazing. But sometimes that good deed isn't all that great when it involves people who can't afford to take proper care of them. This happens a lot with folks who are strapped for cash, like the elderly guy who doesn't have much, but lives with 10 dogs because he loves them so much. Or the lady who hardly ever goes out, and you can always tell where her house is by the smell of cats. It's kind of a sad twist, right? Their huge love for their pets means they can't bear to give them up, even when it might be better for everyone. Number 3. Branded clothes and accessories. Sunglasses with fancy brand logos are all about showing off wealth, even if the bank account says otherwise. And often, it's one of the most obvious telltale signs that someone is trying too hard to project an image of wealth and success. Think about it. These brands get knocked off a lot, from clothes to towels and even slippers, that they end up being sold everywhere. The thing with broke folks is that they swear they've got the real deal or know someone who knows someone, especially when they seem to have those hard-to-find bags or shoes. But let's be real. Chances are their luxury items come straight out of a car trunk and are made in China. Number 4. Beauty enhancements. Have you noticed how some women always look so put together with their hair extensions, acrylic nails, and lash upgrades? It's like they never skip a nail or lash appointment. But you know that they are strapped for cash. So why do they do it? This is because a lot of them think that mimicking reality stars and influencers who seem to get rich and famous mainly for how they look might lead them to stardom too. But what they don't realize is that behind those celebs' success is usually someone with killer marketing skills who knows how to get them noticed by the media. As for the men, they typically splurge on the next item on our list. Number 5. Car accessories, especially loud exhausts. Movies like The Fast and the Furious and Need for Speed Underground really kicked off a love affair with tricking out cars for a lot of men, and that fire hasn't died down. Some folks might outgrow this, but others continue diving into it headfirst, including those with a very limited budget. They deck out their rides with flashy LED lights, fancy grills, and spoilers, thinking this is what car tuning is all about. But let's be real. Just slapping a spoiler on a car from the 90s or painting flames on it doesn't exactly mean you've tuned your car, right? And it definitely doesn't make it go faster. Also, making your exhaust louder doesn't up your cool factor. It just annoys everyone, especially those trying to get a baby to sleep. Getting into car customization can be super rewarding and a fun project if you're passionate about it. But it's probably best to wait until you're not worried about making ends meet. After all, making sure you can pay the rent should come before turning your car into a street racer. By the way, we're on a mission to inspire people like yourself to make generational wealth, so make sure to subscribe if that sounds like you. Number 6. Get-rich-quick schemes. People who are tight on money often get caught in a weird spot. They say they don't have enough for the basics, yet somehow they always scrape up something to chase those get-rich-quick dreams. We've seen folks use their last bit of cash to jump into pyramid schemes, all because some smooth talker made them big promises. They think if they put in $500 and pull in a couple of others to do the same, They'll hit this platinum diamond peak status and start raking in $50,000 a month for life, or maybe even more. But let's be real. It never ends well, right? The sad part is, when people are struggling with money, they're willing to try just about anything to get out of that hole, except maybe the very things that could actually help. Instead of putting in the real work needed to fix their finances, they go after anything that sounds easier. Number 7. The latest gadgets. Let's get this straight. Just because you've got the cash for a down payment or the first installment on the newest smartphone or TV doesn't mean you can afford it. A lot of the time, it's all about the ego. For instance, you might be feeling embarrassed about not having the latest iPhone, but you know you don't really need it, right? As for TVs, people get all excited about Black Friday, and everyone's racing to grab the biggest screen they can, even if their wallet says otherwise. This whole thing shines a light on society's pressure to always have the latest stuff. And for the financially strapped, this means making some pretty unwise financial decisions. Number 8. Vacations. You know how people are always saying we should keep our money troubles under wraps, right? Well, it seems like a lot of folks are really taking that to heart these days. So you'll see people borrowing cars for first dates or putting fancy dinners on their credit just to impress. Some even bring their dates to places like the Maldives or Miami using bank loans or maybe a rich friend's generosity. Or they keep posting vacation pics as if they're still living it up even months after they're back. Worse, they'll be using someone else's photos to keep up the act on social media. In reality, they're back to the daily hustle, maybe even washing dishes, just to pay off the cost of those brief moments of pretending. And if you found this video useful, then you'll love these. And be sure to like this video to let the YouTube algorithm know you'd like to see more videos like this one.